Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm giving you some book recommendations to get you over the slump of finishing the Shadow and Bone TV show. So unless you've been living under a rock, then there is quite a popular book series titled Shadow and Bone and a duology titled Six of Crows, and these have been combined into a TV show which has just been released on Netflix. I am currently watching it and really enjoying it. I have not finished it yet, but as of filming this, but I probably will by the time I've uploaded this. So I am really enjoying it, and I was thinking that, like the rest of the world, you might be enjoying it too, and you might need some recommendations of where to go to next to fill the void of either the book series or the TV show. So I have some recommendations today based on different aspects of the show. So you can see if you're particularly interested in the magic system or the Russian influences or different aspects, then you can go for you can see what books I have recommended based on that aspect. But first, I thought I would say, if you didn't know already, Leigh Bardugo has another book that is out that is not part of the Grishaverse, which is titled Ninth House. So if you have really enjoyed Leigh Bardugo's writing style, then I would recommend reading her other book, which is Ninth House. Unfortunately, the rest of the series isn't out yet. There is just this one book, but it's there if you're interested in it. It is an adult book, so slightly different. It is very different from the Grishaverse. It is set in the real world, and you're following a main character, Alex Stern, and she has been accepted to go into Yale University, where she is there to monitor the secret societies to check that they aren't doing anything untowards with sort of the supernatural. And there are many societies at Yale which investigate the supernatural and are seeing ghosts and magic, and she is there to control it or monitor it. But at the beginning of the book, a girl has been murdered and the police have written it off as something completely normal, nothing's gone wrong here, and she thinks that something has happened with some of the societies and the supernatural. So if you enjoy the writing style of the Grishaverse, then here's your first port of call. But now moving on to if you enjoy the themes of the Grishaverse, where should you go to next? So if you like the magic systems, you have people that are able to tap into different forms of magic. So you have the people that are able to control people's bodies, you have people that are able, like the heart renders, you have the people that are able to control the wind, you have the people that are able to control the water. If you're interested in that sort of magic system, then I would recommend reading Air Awakens by Elise Covert. I'm currently reading the second book in this series. And so in this world, you have people like in Shadow and Bone and the Grishaverse that are able to control different elements. So you have people that control fire, earth, water and wind, and so those are where the elements are based, and our main character is able to control wind, and there hasn't been anyone that's been able to summon wind in 150 years, so she is very rare, and it's the other three elements which are more well known in the world, that you have many people that control fire, earth and water. And so it's her discovering her powers and getting into the magical world. And I guess, like with Alina in Shadow and Bone, she had no idea she had powers until she was a bit more grown up, and then suddenly her powers manifest. So there's another similarity between the two. Another one where there are different powers and people can have different powers with different magics is Truth Witch. So there's slightly different powers within this, but again, there are different witches which have different powers. So the main character in this first one is a Truth Witch, and she is able to see if someone is telling a lie. So quite obviously, and in this world there's it's very fraught. It's a very fraught political system, and lots of things have been going wrong. It follows two main central protagonists, Safi, who's a Truth Witch, and Isolde, who is a Thread Witch. The Thread Witch is able to see people's lives and how they all connect and the different threads between people. And Safi, she as a Truth Witch is sought after by all the governments because the political situation is so fraught. It's a very useful power to be able to tell if people are telling lies. And yet again, it is a power that is very sought after, and there's not that many people that can do it. And Safi she's in hiding. She doesn't want to be known as a Truth Witch, and so she hasn't revealed her power to everyone until the start of the book. There's also a Blood Witch in this who's able to control blood. So again, it has the themes of these different powers that people can have. So if you really like that aspect of Shadow and Bone, then those are a couple of books that I would recommend. If you like the Russian influences in the Shadow and Bone story, then I would recommend The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This is very much centered in Russian folklore and the Russian setting. So this is set in like the 1400s in Russia. It's like, it reads a bit like a Russian fairy tale. And so you're following a main character, Vasya, and at this time in this world, there are little like house spirits and spirits that live within the forests. And she's able to see them and communicate with them. And these spirits sort of like help the community. And at one point, her father has remarried this woman who's very, very Catholic. And it's the rise of people converting to Catholicism. And so the little spirits are not given their sort of tributes or like, you know, little snacks. They're not given like humans as tributes, but like little mementos and things. They're not given these that will increase their power. And so they're waning. It has aspects where you have like the folklore and you have like this winter king and like aspects of mythology all woven throughout this with the Russian setting. And I mean I love this series. I really, really love this series. If you can't tell by how much I'm really like gushing about it. But if you really like the folklore, the sort of the Russian aspect, the folklore aspect of the Grishaverse, then I would recommend this. And another book with a Russian setting that I would recommend is The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. So in this world, you are following two characters who are both magicians, and they have been enlisted by the Emperor of Russia to be his the court magician. And it's a competition because he can only have one, and it's a competition to the death. So each magician is trying to kill the other or outmaneuver the other, show off their magical powers to the Emperor so that they will be picked over the other and not be killed. Romance and danger ensue from there, but that is the like premise of it. And again, it has this Russian setting. It has the Russian setting with the like magic and with the sort of like court politics, because you're following the Emperor as well in there. So breaking a little bit away from the Shadow and Bone bit and thinking more about the Six of Crows aspect of the Grishaverse. So if you really like the sort of heist setting, you've got this group, these comrades all together doing a heist and like that whole theme and setting, then I have a couple of recommendations. The first one would be The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, which I think is a pretty well-known like heist story. But The Final Empire, you are following Vin and Kelsia and a band of, I guess, misfits as they attempt to take down the Lord Ruler, who in this world, the Lord Ruler won 1,000 years ago. He won. He's the evil villain, and they're attempting to take him down. And in this world, yet again, there is magic, but the magic in this world is you acquire it through the ingestion of metals. And so each different metal gives the consumer a different power. Some people are able to just use one metal and that metal gives them one power. Some people are able to use the powers of every metal. You are following Vin as she realises that she is a Mistborn, so able to use all of the different metals. And her and Kelsia trains her, and as they go and try and take down the Final Empire, there are ballroom scenes, which is again something that is prevalent in Shadow and Bone, but like it has that sort of court politics again, and it's them trying to take down this society in this impossible, it's not really a heist, it's more of a impossible killing of someone, because they're not after like an object, they're after a person. So if you like that aspect. And another one I would recommend for if you like the heist aspect is Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. So this one, you are following a main character, Xansia. In this world, objects have power. Well, you can create objects to have different powers. So for example, they have wheels, and it's a process called scribing. Like if you scribe the wheel to think that it's going downhill all the time, then the wheels will move forward, even if it's on an uphill. So it's like they're just telling objects to think they are something else. A bit like coding, it's like real world coding as a magic system. It's really, really cool, like really cool, really well done. But in this, there is like the aspect of a band of misfits yet again, which is a similar theme to Six of Crows, and that you have this band of misfits trying to like infiltrate a merchant house. Yet again, I love this book, but like you have, it's the character. I guess this is one of the main aspects, as well as it being sort of like a heist, but it is the characters and this like band of misfits and this fan family, which is going to be my next section. But I would say that if you like the sort of like heist style stories where you have people sort of trying to get into different places, trying to like infiltrate, people infiltrating places where they shouldn't be, then I'd recommend this. And I feel as though Sansia, she might have some like similarities to Kaz Brecker. So if you like Kaz as a character, I mean, she is female, like they are very different, they are different, but like I feel as though they have similarities. And I think if you like Kaz, then you probably like Sansia as a protagonist, because I feel as though they're both sort of like wounded characters that have a backstory that you don't quite find out until later on in the story, and they're both sort of using their wits to create a living for themselves. The final part of this is that if you like the found family aspect and like people coming together and like creating their family out of their friends and like that whole like that trope of a found family, then I would recommend the Court of Thorns and Roses series. So specifically A Court of Mist and Fury, I think, is where it first comes in, but you can see it in A Court of Silver Flames. This is the one I have on hand. But if you like seeing characters like build together as the friendships and those sorts of relationships and a found family, then I would recommend the Sarah J Maas books as a whole. I think Sarah J Maas does found family very, very well. So if you enjoy seeing characters just all come together and like seeing their friendships and relationships and having that as a trope, then I would recommend her books. And you see that with Six of Crows, and you see that group and that camaraderie and them all coming together. So I would recommend that. And then slightly different, but again, it has the found family aspect that I really like seeing in books, and that's Malice by John Gwynne. So this one is, I guess, a bit of a breakaway because this is a very much of an adult fantasy. So if you are not typically a YA reader, I mean, some of the like Foundracide is an adult book, but I feel as though this is the furthest away from the YA demographic, and this definitely leans very adult. And so it is quite different from Shadow and Bone in many aspects, many aspects. But if you like the found family trope, then I would recommend Malice because of the characters and because of their relationships and how these characters all come together and like seeing their friendships and their relationships. So, and seeing how people like bond and like how difficult circumstances bring characters together and seeing how people change and how they develop. And I mean, if you didn't know already, I love this book. I love this series. I love it so much. Really love this series. But if you like seeing characters come together, and you see it more as the series goes on, and seeing how characters like continue to develop and seeing how their friendships blossom. So again, if you like that aspect, then I would recommend Malice. So those are my recommendations for you if you have really enjoyed the Shadow and Bone TV show, the books, whatever. If you have any recommendations for me, then please let me know, because maybe I might get to the point where, because I haven't quite finished the show yet, where I'm like, what do I do now? Where do I go? Like, where do I go from here? I need some recommendations. So if you have any recommendations for me based on Shadow and Bone and what I should read next, then please let me know. If I haven't covered what you liked in Shadow and Bone, I'm very sorry. If you're like, but Abby, I really liked the romance, or Abby, I really liked this, then I'm sorry. But I feel as though these books as a whole are good recommendations for like across the board palette. So if you liked one, then you probably should hopefully like these. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!